Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, January 23rd. And wouldn't you know it, we're continuing Moses' story. Now, this is one that I don't know what it's going to contain just from the name of it, which the title is Signs for Moses. So we'll see. Because, like I said, I have that movie stuck in my head so much that I've wanted to reread the actual story from the Bible. Because, Hollywood doesn't do it justice, just like they don't do any other books justice. So, yeah, we're going to continue Moses' story today. Moses answered, "What if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, 'The Lord did not appear to you?' Then the Lord said to him, 'What is that in your hand?' 'A staff,' he replied. The Lord said, 'Throw it on the ground.' Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, 'Reach out your hand and take it by the tail.' So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. 'This,' said the Lord, 'is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you.' Then the Lord said, 'Put your hand inside your cloak.' So Moses put his hand into his cloak, and when he took it out, the skin was leprous. It had become as white as snow. 'Now put it back into your cloak,' he said. So Moses put his hand back into his cloak, and when he took it out, it was restored, like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, 'If they do not believe you or pay attention to the first sign, they may believe the second. But if they do not believe these two signs or listen to you, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground.'" Oops, excuse me, sorry about that. Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother, Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it." Okay, so that's what they're talking about with Moses, or signs for Moses. I do remember this part. Um, just wasn't sure from the title of it. But I mean, first off, Moses, just the lack of self confidence. I mean, God is telling you specifically, directly, that you are going to be talking for him. And you, you say multiple times that, no, it's not me. I'm not good at speaking. Um, Please send somebody else. Yeah, so you see a few of the wonders that God can perform, turning the staff into the snake and then back into the staff. And then the one that I always forget, because again, it's not in the movie, is the putting the hand in his cloak and it becomes leprous, and then he takes it away when he puts it back in his cloak. And then he says, if they don't believe these first two, take some water from the Nile, pour it on the dry ground, and then it will become blood when it hits the ground. So that's like the third one. Also, a little foreshadowing of what one of the plagues will be. Um, and finally, so the Lord's anger burned against Moses. So he was actually angry with Moses, and there's justifiable anger that is allowed, and he demonstrates it right here. And then the last little thing that I thought was pretty cool is that you can God proves that he's omniscient, omnipotent, all of those, because he says that Aaron is already on his way to meet you. So like how would anybody know? It's not like they have walkie-talkies or GPS back then. You can't track people, so God just knew that he was on his way to meet him. And then he keeps telling him that he will put words in his mouth. He will help both of them speak, teach them what to do. And then I like thinking about this one. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and as if you were God to him. So he's saying, so like I, God, am putting words in your mouth, Moses' mouth, so you like will be God to him in this situation where like your words that you will give him are like the words that I'm giving you. So it's kind of like a chain effect. So like God is to Moses, and then he's saying that Moses is going to be to Aaron what God was to Moses. Yeah, and then he gives power in the staff, but take the staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it. Yeah. All right, so we have a little foreshadowing going on, a little bit of self-doubt that turns into justifiable anger, and Moses is set on his path to go back to Egypt. And we'll hear about that tomorrow. All right, keep trucking. I know it's Tuesday. This is usually like one of the harder days of the week to get through. I will be in class for the afternoon, hopefully not getting a headache from the math that I'm learning today like I did last week. All right, have a good Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.